deals with good turnaround times for deadlines. I'm a dependable person. I'm trustworthy. People can count on me. Cultural awareness is really big in this community and any community. I'm bilingual, and I can speak to anybody from a state level, federal level, down to our local people who work in our community. So I feel like I can communicate to anybody, and I feel like I can deal with anybody in our community because I have the experience that I've had. I've advocated to make Alamosa a county as in the past. I've advocated at the state level, because Alamosa is my community. I love Alamosa. I was born here in Alamosa. And my children came from preschool, kindergarten, to all the way through Adams State College. I've owned a business here for over 25 years, and still pass it down to our daughters. So we're rooted in the community, deeply rooted in the community. And as I've said in the past, I think the county commissioners need to really collaborate with the other biggest entity in our community, the city. We do not need a bigger government, like I said before. We need a more collaborative government. And we need a collaborative government in the sense of economic development. We need a community that we can work with our sheriff and police department. So we can implement programs like LEAD, so that our jails are not overcrowded. We also need to work with our medical field, like Dr. Troy, and get maybe a coalition started with those folks, so we can get a medical detox, or perhaps just some folks in here that can help us out with keeping our jails. We have a brand new beautiful jail, but that's not the place where we want to put people if they don't need to be there. We need to have those folks becoming better citizens and doing what they can and be better citizens in our community, in our state, and in our world. So, I just think that there's a lot of work to be done. I think Alamosa is progressive. There's a lot of work that's been done already, but we don't want to stop there. We need to continue moving forward and work with younger people, get newer ideas, work with those folks that need help, and we need to talk to those folks that can help us. Because believe it or not, I don't know all the answers. Never have, never claimed to know it all, but I believe that I can get some good advice from folks. And one thing that I plan to do, or like to do, if I don't like this county commissioner, is to have listening tours, to get out in the community several times a year and say, what does Alamosa County need? What does Alamosa County want? Where do we want to be? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? But I think that's really important, to listen to the citizens of Alamosa County. So that's one thing that I would like to do.
Thank you, Mr. Vigil.
Thank you.
Good job, sorry. Now we'll hear from Michael Yohn.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here this evening. I want to thank Randy and Keith also for putting on this forum. Ruthie, Pete, appreciate you. I'm Michael Yohn, Alamosa County Commissioner, a former business owner in the United States Army veteran. To all the veterans that are here this evening, thank you for your service. I was born and raised in Alamosa, and after graduation from Alamosa High School, I served in the United States Army. While stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia, Janet and I were married. She's been my wife for 47 years. After touring Korea and honorably discharged, we returned to Alamosa, and I managed Willis Oil Company. After that, I attended Southern Colorado State College, where our daughter Brenda was born. In 1976, we returned here to Alamosa to make it our home. I was manager of Willis Oil and Sunwest Oil for over 20 years. I finally ended up buying those two companies and formed Broadway Service. It was successful until 2008 and we sold the company. And I still wanted to be involved in the community, and so I became ran for Alamosa County Commissioner. I was elected and served on many boards. I still have that desire to serve Alamosa and the residents of Alamosa. This is kind of referring to one of the questions I heard earlier that I'd already planned, is Alamosa is growing, and with growth, we need to keep up with our infrastructure. We have built a new annex building, and we did it on schedule and under budget. We built a new airport terminal and runway. We did it on schedule and under budget. We are adding on to the jail, which is sad, but it was necessary. We have a new courthouse going up, and it will be under budget. We've seen them go way out of, way over budget, and we just do not want that at all. We have roads that are being paved, and we are adding new roads to our inventory. We've increased the sheriff's budget and the district attorney's budget in an effort to help fight crime. We're looking forward at our future projects. We've improved the environment by hiring a full-time environmental health person. We have a blight ordinance. We are closing the co-op landfill and cleaning up the Devil's Playground. Let's keep Alamosa moving forward and be physically responsible to all the taxpayers. Please vote for Michael Yohn, Alamosa County Commissioner. God bless all you, and God bless America. That's 3 minutes.
Thank you, Michael. We'll move into the questions, and this kind of ties in with our question for everyone, and we'll start with you, Michael, since you spoke second with last go around. What new vision can you bring to the county?
Thank you, Keith. New vision, like I said, we're looking forward to new projects. The infrastructure, it was mentioned earlier that Alamosa County is growing. We have grown at about a 3% increase per year. Now, this isn't the big boom, but we also don't have that big bust. So when you have a 3% growth, it's kind of manageable. Transportation is a big issue here in the valley. Medical services, transporting people to and from for medical service, not only to our San Luis Valley Regional Medical Center, but also outside of the valley for a lot of services. We, like I said, the airport is going to play a major role in this, and we have pretty reliable service now, and we hope just to grow that bigger. When we did our agreement with Boutique, we limited it to 2 years to see how we can improve that. And if we can't do better than what we have been, which is pretty good, we will look at alternatives and try getting the bigger airlines in here. But until that happens, we do have a great service as far as the air service. Business is coming in, it is evolving. There is a recreational is big now, ag business is big, hemp is coming in. It's just unlimited really what can be coming up. So keep your eyes open and look forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder to our remaining candidates, we'd like you to keep your answers to the questions to around 2 minutes, please. Same question for you, Mr. Vigil. What new vision can you bring to the county?
Thank you, Keith. So Alamosa is a one-night town right now. People come into the sand dunes, come to the train, and we need to do something better than that. We need to keep them here to spend their money in tourism. Also, we need to embrace our agricultural community. Hemp is the new golden crop that's coming in. We need to actually really embrace that, because I think that'll bring a lot of farm added value to our farmers and ranchers here in our community. We need to embrace the products that we already have. So I believe that we need to collaborate also with the city, as I said before, so that we can figure out how to keep people here an extra night or two and have them spend their money here in Alamosa. We also need to really continue to embrace people like clubs like the Early Iron. We need to continue to see how we can help them make their shows, their projects better, so that we can have a much better turnover and keep our visitors here a little bit longer. We don't want them here forever. We want them to come, spend their money, and leave. And that would be one of the things I'd like to do out here. Is Alamosa is progressive, and I think with the vision that I have, I think that we can probably do that. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take some collaboration. It's going to take some time. So I think that with that, I think we'll just need to continue to maybe do some studies on other things. I don't know what they are right now, but I think we need to do some studies to do. So thank you.
We're going to go right back to you, Mr. Vigil. Alamosa County, and don't hold me to these statistics, whoever asked the question probably knows what they're talking about. Alamosa County has a 21% general poverty level and 27% child poverty rate. What is your plan to combat the massive poverty in Alamosa County?
You know, there are several propositions in the ballot right now that may alleviate some of that. The other issue that we have is schools who, at this point, are overwhelmed with those issues. And I think we need to support our teachers a little bit more. We need to support our school district a little bit more. And we need to, you know, with our social services, as county commissioners who are in charge of the social services, we need to see how we can look at those statistics and make it work better for us. Because right now it's not working. We've got a massive unemployment, massive opioid problem. But we also have, you know, some challenges with people not being able to keep jobs. And, you know, homelessness is a situation that we need to improve. So I think we just need to get out there. And like I said before, we need to have some town halls. We need to see what the people are doing and what they're asking of us. I think we need to listen to the people. How can we have more help to our community? How can we give more help to our citizens? And I think by collaborating with folks like La Puente, folks at the county level, at the city level, the school districts, and see what they're doing, so we can get better ideas, so we can hone in on some more help, maybe get some grants that can alleviate some of those things. But it's a long-term problem. It's not going to be solved anytime soon. And so I think we just really need to look at how we're distributing our funds and our services. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yohn.
Would you please repeat the questions?
Sure. Alamosa County has a 21% general poverty level and 27% child poverty. What is your plan to combat massive poverty in Alamosa County?
Thank you, Keith. When we say we have 21% poverty rate, you know, I'm on the workforce board, and unemployment's less than 3% here. People that want to work are working. Now, they may have to work 2 jobs, and I know that the poverty is real, but I think at 21%, I don't know where that figure come from.
U.S. Census,
Okay?
What year?
Yeah.
2010, the last,
Okay.
or 2014.
2010.
2014 or 2010.
We're 2018. I think things have really turned around. If you go through town, look at the businesses that are hiring. We're just finishing up with harvest. We had a hard time fulfilling all those jobs for truck drivers and harvest work. You know, and they're paying $15 an hour and up. You know, there is poverty. But I think the biggest problem is drugs and going back to the opium. Trying to get someone qualified to work at a decent job. Most places want a drug test, and a lot of them are failing that. And that's unfortunate. Sheriff Jackson mentioned we needed a treatment center here. I agree 100%. We need the education and treatment for the addiction. Thank you. Card.
I'm gonna go right back to you, Michael. Yeah. What can be done to improve the roads in the northern part of the county?
Thank you, Keith. That must be somebody up in the northern part of the county. Thank you, Roy. How about improving the road in front of my house? I moved there 35 years ago, and it was a road dirt, and it's still a road dirt. So I'm in East Alamosa. We put over $300,000 in new asphalt for the coming year. 2018, we had 320-some thousand. Now that sounds like a big number for money, but when you're buying asphalt, that doesn't go very far. So our road and bridge department is one of our smaller departments, actually, funded at $3 million annually. So they do everything they can and stretch that just as far as they can. Now we are considering chip sealing. Some people hate that because it gets on their cars. But it does work pretty good, and we're experimenting with that and hope to do a lot more with that. Thank you.
Same question, Mr. Vigil.
Thank you, Keith. Also on the roads in the north parts of this county, and they're pretty rough. Gotta admit that. We have a tiered level of taxing for roads. It's called the HETF funding. It's highways and tax funding, and it's different counties get different amounts. Mr. Yohn quoted $3 million, and he is correct. But I think there are alternatives. Like one thing that I get a lot is we've got some folks out in the county, in the north side of the city, there, the north side of the county, that do have health problems, pneumonia, or just not pneumonia, but they got some have pneumonia, but some also have chronic breathing problems, and the dust from those roads create is really bad. So maybe perhaps we can't improve as much. Maybe we can listen to those folks and try to alleviate with maybe some kind of watering down at certain times. Maybe we can, I don't know if the road inventory is complete. I'd have to look at that. I'm pretty sure it probably is. But how can we allocate, manage, and plan to grow out the infrastructure? Because after all, our communities are tied to those roads, and they also bring people to our community to live. And we want to have those folks be here. So that's an important priority that I would make, to try to get the roads improved in the northern and all parts of the communities. So it's a big project, and I don't know how we do that, but that's how I'd like to do it.
Thank you, and we'll go right back to you, Mr. Vigil. What one issue is the most important to Alamosa County? How would you fix it, and what are the obstacles in doing so?
I don't think we just have one. I think we have several. But the one that's most and dearest to my heart is probably the opioid crisis in our community, because it's costing us jail space. I don't know how much the sheriff spent last year on housing inmates out of the community, but it was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm sure. And that's money that leaves the community, never comes back. And if you could put that money into roads, if you could put that money into programs, and by passing the initiative 1A, I believe what it was, I think that helped a whole bunch. But I think that, plus not having people that can work, because they can't pass a drug test, and their families suffer, as they end up, again, in the Department of Social Services. And so those are funds also that, you know, they're necessary, but I think that they could be better used if we didn't have to use them for just those purposes. So I think that that is probably our biggest one problem. And I guess I'll leave it at that, I guess, one problem, since that's what the question was.
Thank you. Mr. Yohn, same question.
Thank you, Keith. I think the biggest concern for Alamosa County and for me would be the opiate addiction and the way that we are going about it. I think it has to be a three-fingered approach to curbing this and helping it. You've got to have the education to start with, not only for the youngers, but even adults using pain medicine and everything need to know the consequences of it. Then we need a treatment center for the ones that want to be treated. And then, of course, we have the jail. The jail issue is something that we had to have it, but we hate to have it. You know, that is no place for addicts to be detoxed and then trying to get clean. But we have to have that. That is the biggest issue. Now, if I asked some of you, it would be the roads issues. So, and that is true too, because a lot of the services, like our human services, we have $16 million going into that per year. And that is helping the families and such. You know, that's what most of you don't see. What you do see is the road out in front of your yard. You know, so when it comes to what is more important, it's who you are. Thank you.
Thank you. After our commissioner candidates, the question is, the city of Alamosa has given the County Economic Development Group $29,000 each year over the past 3 years. The county has given $6,000, $1,000 from the county and $5,000 from the lodging tax board. Would you work towards matching or exceeding the city's investment in economic development? And we'll start with you, Mr. Vigil.
Thank you, Keith. Of course I work towards that goal, because like I said before, we need economic development. And if the city is investing that kind of money in it with the lodging tax, some of the hotels being outside of the city, I think we need to figure out how we're going to create more jobs in our communities. And I think that money that we match would be a very good start. And I think we don't just need to rely on that kind of money, but I think we need to explore other avenues of economic development. But that $29,000 would go maybe towards a grant writer who would give us more money so that we could go through the tourism board, see how we even leverage more money so that we could get better economic development here in Alamosa and our surrounding communities here now at Hooper, Mosca, you know, now Waverly is doing, we have some beer distributors, not distributors, but places that have, right now, they've opened up their businesses in those communities. And so I think we just need to help those people out, get more entrepreneurs involved, and help them out, see how we can help the entrepreneurs in the community, see how we can cultivate more entrepreneurs in our community, and have some kind of a plan. So when we get our entrepreneurs, I'm sure the state has programs through the State Economic Development Office. So thank you for the question.
Thank you. Mr. Yohn, same question.
Thank you. Economic development is very important to Alamosa County. You know, we fund it in many different ways. You mentioned 29,000. Wasn't it 26,000? You got 3 extra thousand right there. So.
In fairness, the city has lowered that annual amount this year for 2019 to $25,000.
Right. And to try back filling that out in the county would be, who do we take it away from? You know, you've got this pot of money and this pot of money. All of it's spoken for. It's up to us to kind of determine who needs it the most and where it goes. But if we give a little to everyone, then they can keep going. If we take all the funding from anyone, then they cease to exist. So it's a balancing act. We support it all we can. And thank you.
Thank you. Our final question for the county commissioner candidates. Now that the jail addition and courthouse are completed, what do you believe should be the next priority for the county? If you answer opioid crisis, how specifically can county commissioners address that problem?
So, could you repeat the question, please? I'm sorry, I got distracted a little bit.
Sure. Now that the jail and courthouse are completed, what do you believe should be the next priority for the county? And if you answer opioid crisis, how specifically can county commissioners address that problem?
Okay, so we need to continue to try to get some additional funding, whether it's from the state or the feds, to see how we can fund programs and keep programs, or maybe get additional programs like LEAD, so that we can get additional programs to maybe house or get folks like, how about Dr. Troy, have private, have centers that are medical that can deal with the horrific withdrawal symptoms that some of those folks have. And so we just need to be more collaborative with reach out, because like it's been mentioned here, we have a finite amount of money. So we need to be smarter by trying to reach out to where those deeper pockets might be. And I think we can do that. If we can do that, I think there might be some places that we can actually leverage funding so that we can get more funding for the programs that we already have and create new ones that alleviate those types of crisis that those types of shortages that we have right now. And with that, I think we just need to continue to be really progressive and see how we can leverage and talk to people at the federal and state level and in maybe other communities so that we can get ideas of these, how we move forward. Because it is a big problem, and it's not only here, it's just all over the United States.